You've got to treat the fans with the respect that they deserve, and they deserve to know what's going on. They deserve a proper update from the man at the top of the football club.
The Royal Blue Podcast.
Do you foresee then Chris Moshiri literally coming fully back into the fold at least for the next couple of months? Because let's face it, any deal now, regardless of whether it's with Texter or anyone else, it's going to take months.
Well, it might not take the sort of time scale that I've seen at 777 has taken, but that was a big part of the problem, that they couldn't do it. We've been told all season actually that he's apparently been having a more hands-on role than he's had for a long time. Obviously, we don't see it. He's not.
So is that Moshiri?
Yeah, he's not a regular sort of attender, is he, at the games or anything like that? Obviously, he was at the Burnley game after Bill died, and he was at, was it West Ham away? Yeah, we've done that 2 years on the trot. West Ham sacked the manager the last time he was there. But the only game he saw of the Lampard era, just to give him his cards. But yeah, he's going to have to, isn't he? Because what's the alternative? You can't just have a rudderless ship. He needs to be there. The decisions need to be made. Everton needs to rebuild. Like I said, Connor's painted a rosy picture for next season. Let's hope that's the case. But big decisions have got to be made. We know who's sort of being released and let go, but as Felwell has said, players will have to be sold, so decisions got to be made about that. The decisions of the players coming in. Everton got a relatively small squad anyway. I know Deitch likes to work for a tight squad, but he's going to need bodies. People have got to come into the football club, so there's all kinds of decisions that need making both on and off the pitch, and Moshiri needs to be part of that while he's still involved until that deal, not just agreed a deal, because he's done that with 777, but until it's been signed off and given the green light from the Premier League board, whoever that may be, whether it's Texter or somebody else, he's got to be involved. And there's sort of that was one of the things on the Sky Sports report about all this with Texter last night, was saying that it was understood that it was likely that MSP and Moshiri would sort of hold the fort until Texter was in the position to do that, because he seems really keen, and we'll probably go on to this now, but obviously he has to offload those shares in Crystal Palace first.
Just on Moshiri, I completely agree with Chris that he's got to take control, because at the end of the day he's the owner of the football club, and he's got to show some sort of leadership and accountability. But the first chance he gets, he's got to address the fans. He's got to address the supporters.
What, in like a public address?
Yes, he's got to publicly address the supporters and tell them what is going on, because obviously, understandably, contracts were signed and there was a lot of legal thing around the deadline and stuff like that. And, let's face it, we don't want to see something which comes in that time where it tells us nothing, because he can't tell us nothing.
Yeah.
We get all that, and we understand that's just part of life. But from the 31st of May, for instance, when this extension expires and whatnot, he's got to address the supporters the first chance he gets. He's got to be open and honest. He's got to tell them what's going on, because we haven't heard enough. But we haven't heard anything from him, yeah. So this season, and he's got to tell them what's going on. Maybe that through the Everton fan advisory boards, who've done some really good work. It has to be said, in recent months, in terms of putting pressure on the football club and Moshiri in particular, and getting them to come out and speak, whether it's through them or whether it's just an open on. He's got to address the supporters. He's got to tell them what's going on. He's got to provide a thorough update of where things are at, what his plans are, what the future looks like. He's still the majority shareholder of this football club, and while he's that, he's got to treat the supporters with the class that they deserve, and they deserve to know what's going on. So the first chance he gets, he's got to address them.
He had a meeting with the fan advisory board last week, and he wasn't there. It was done remotely because he wasn't in the UK. So there you go. He didn't even show up for that one. It was a bit like us over the screens.
Well, strong words from Connor. I more than agree with everything that you said. And let's face it, there might be some developments from after Friday, Saturday, going into next week.
You just got to you've got to treat the fans with the respect that they deserve, and they deserve to know what's going on. They deserve a proper update from the man at the top of the football club, because too many times last year, this season, Sean Dyche was forced to face the music week on week, and let's face it, he probably didn't know what was going on half the time, because he's the football manager. He's not involved in boardroom negotiations about takeovers and talking to prospective lawyers and stuff like that. But he was the man who had to bear the brunt of it. And obviously myself and Chris were quite fortunate that we attended all of them press conferences, whether it be a Finch Farm before games or after matches at Goodison Park or wherever they're playing. Moshiri's got to show a bit of leadership and a bit of accountability, and stand up and address the supporters and just tell them what's going on, because once you do that, it's a bit of people know where they stand, and I think that's the most important thing from this. You just got to treat the supporters with the respect they deserve,
and not just talk to Jim White with pop music playing in the background.
No, definitely not. We don't want to repeat them scenes.
Yeah, well, we'll come on to John Texter.
I thought you could say we'll come on to Jim White.
Come on to Jim White if you want. I think he likes the wrestling, doesn't he? Yeah, we'll come on to Texter. We'll come on to, well, we don't really know other interested parties, but we're told that there is a few. But before we do, just a reminder that we are live. Get your comments in, get your questions in. One here, Connor, which I'll read out now, just based on what you're saying, what Moshiri's got to do to, put the fans at ease. The Blues on YouTube has said, even if Moshiri comes out and tells us, I don't believe a word that comes from his mouth.
That's
another.
That's obviously that fans, taken,
take on it,
understandable. But I just think, if he does come out and address it, puts a lot of things to bed, doesn't it? And people know where they stand.